been wanting to wear my hair like this forever. Did I finish? Oh, I'm about to say, you probably can push them back further to the wall. You want to go ahead and do the introduction? What do we have to do? We can pause it, right? Welcome to Two Girls with a Mic. Today we are interviewing Danielle Allen.
Yay.
She is a novelist, a professor, and a life coach. She's living authentically has been the key to her living her best life. Yes. So make sure you stay tuned to find out more about Danielle Allen and about the great books that she has written. Thank you. Make sure you hit that like button and comment and subscribe below. Yay. Oh yeah, like the screen looks so much better. Hi.
Hello.
How are you? Great. How are you?
I am well. Trying to get the video to pop up.
Not a problem. William, when I said I was like, oh Lord, I got worried about a William. Let me see. That's fine. Oh, you broken glass with the letter from the This is love. Oh, I need that picture. Oh my gosh. You always take the best picture. Yes.
Okay, here we go. Hi guys.
Oh my God, it's so great to speak with you.
Yes, thank you for doing this and joining us. Like, we really, really appreciate it.
We do.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Man, I know one thing, like, I'm so behind on a lot of authors, but like when I say work song blew me away. Like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Tati, every book that I read, I can't ever figure out who is a strong woman, but that chick right there, you wrote her. Like,
thank you.
My God.
Yes.
And I appreciate that.
First read by you. And I was like, oh my gosh. And you know, I read quite a few of your books, and each one of them, I just hate for it to end.
Yes.
And I think I dragged through the last pages because I don't want it to end. When I see that 90% pop up, I'm like, no. But then I have to hurry up and read it because I want to find out what's going to happen.
I didn't want Tati and Wes to go away. Like, I was like, I mean, I want them to stay with me. Like, I want to be their friend.
Right.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah, because Lena was like, you have to read it. You have to read it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to read it. And I work 10-hour days. So I put the book on as I'm working, but I kind of like have a bad habit where I pick up the book and still follow behind it. And I was like, oh my gosh. But it's so funny because I was like, as the book kept on going, I was like, Taylor G is Tati. I was like, they're the same person. And then I'm like, no, Crystal. Then I was like, yeah, I like literally having a conversation with myself about this book. But
that makes me happy. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
But thank you for coming to Two Girls with a Mic. I'm Lena.
And I'm Crystal. That's our introduction, like all the time. Like we don't know ourselves. I think everybody should know who we are by now.
I love it. I'm Danielle.
Nice.
Hi, nice to see you.
Yes. And I, like I said, I'm a huge fan of your work. And
thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, because I met you at Indie Love 2019. That was like my first time going, and I got the book from you, The Telltale. Because I know, and I was like, oh my gosh. So yes. And then I was like, okay, Crystal, you have to start reading. And then now I'm starting to pull the books off my shelf. So like, this is happening. And then, like I said, Work Song, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't have nothing bad to say about that book, like nothing at all.
I love that so much. Work Song was, it really did change like my life. And so I like love when people say that they connected with it, because if like all of my books have a little bit of me in them, but that one has so much of me. And so I love when people say they identify with and connect with Tati's story.
Yeah,
I did. I mean, and the mom and the sister, I was just like, really
okay.
Yeah, they drove me crazy. Like, and that was one of my questions I was going to ask you, like, where, can you just explain more of like their relationship? Like, where did it come from? How did it happen? Because one thing I can say about that, most women who have those bad relationships with their mother, they sometimes feel like, I think they feel like, well, I'll just say me, for example, because me and my mom did not have the best relationship growing up. So, we always try to make sure we do things differently with other women so we won't have that same toxic relationship. And that's just me in general. But yeah, how, like, what was everything behind their relationship?
So the full scope of it is like their relationship was almost like one of those things where the mom has a very definitive idea of what beauty is. What, like, she represents society.
Right.
So the mom and the sister, so the sister grew up believing what the mom told her, and then like followed in those footsteps, did those things, and felt like she was going to manifest the life that she wanted, because that's what society has continued to tell, like, all of us. Like, this is what beauty is. This is how you have to act. If a woman is like this, and like letting society dictate who you are. And so the mom is indoctrinated in that and brought up one daughter like that, and the other one who wasn't built with the same frame as them and like is bigger than them. And so the mom, and even though like a part of you always know when you're not being nice, you know what I mean?
Right.
So the mom feels like she's being loving by telling her, you need to lose weight. Like, this is how you get a man. Like, you're not going to get a man watching football all the time and being big and all of it. Like, she's telling her this because she thinks that she's helping her. And that's a representation of all these people in life who give you unwanted advice, trying to tell you how you should live your life based on their own experiences and what they believe, and not taking into account who you are, what you want, and what you believe.
That is true.
That is true. Look, I mean, she exemplified that to the T, because I wanted to strangle the mom, but it made me feel so good that he was able to stand up for her, and and make it be known, like, I like what I have. I like what I see. Ain't nothing wrong with this right here. So
Exactly.
Yes.
And that he loved her, like, not despite what she looked like. He loved her for everything that she was, because a lot of times that's also the message. Like, when I wrote the book, I felt like I had just read something that was like, it was just a lot of books that if they did have a fat heroine, she was like, the goal was always to lose weight.
Mhm.
And that's how she got the man. Or him falling in love with her despite the fact that she's big. And it's like, that's not my experiences in life. And I feel like that's not what Tati's experience in life is going to be either.
Right.
And so
I'm glad you left her experience the way you left it, because I mean, she was so confident in herself. It was ridiculous. Like, I loved it. And I mean, she just had men coming out the woodwork. You know what I'm saying? Not no little mediocre men. Like, she had some nice men coming out the woodwork. And I love, like, like I said, she is my book, my woman crush, because she knew herself. And
yes.
I love the relationship. And I tell people all the time, I love this, but I love the relationship between her stepmother and her. Like, that was her mom. And I tell people, because like my stepdad is still around. My mom has been deceased now for like 21 years. My stepfather is still around. And
I love
tell
that.
people, yeah, like, that's my dad. Like, yeah, I talk to him, we kiki, ha ha, all that. But I just love the relationship between her parents. But my favorite part, and I'm like I say, I have favorites, but my favorite part is when Wes walked into the job the first day. That I was just like, how freaking cute. Like, she's like, he just explained him. And then she's like, and then he has like the best smile. Like, she knew it was him, and he knew it was her. And I was just like, yes. Like,
I love that.
yes, that's why I was like, they love each other. Like, I had already known they loved each other before, but I was like right there saying they love each other.
Yeah, but they made a connection before they even
met.
So that was, it was genuine.
Yes, and it wasn't based on like the physical, but then once you like already love that person and then you see them and the physical match everything that you was thinking, it's like, okay. But I'm sure in my mind, Wes knew what she looked like.
I think
he wasn't on social media, but she was, because she had her whole blog and everything, and he referenced her blog. And so I know that he knew what she looked like, but she didn't know what he looked like. But when he walked in, she knew.
Yeah, she knew. Like, it was like she felt it in her spirit. Like, that's my man.
Yes.
Like, that is my man. And then I'm then like, I know you have other books, and so I'm gonna try to get off this. But I just have one more thing. Who do you picture in mind that's like in the world that everybody would know as Tati?
So I based Tati off of, there is a model. So for
Let me see if we thinking the same. Let me see if
I'm a fan of the store Torrid. And when I was going in there, the one of the like models on the poster, I guess, on the wall, I was like, if she was a little darker, that would be Tati. But her name is Tabria.
I know Majors.
Yes.
I just say, I was like, we're thinking about the same person.
Yes. And so that was because she is gorgeous.
She is.
Before I wrote Work Song, I remember like the story was in my mind. And I walked into Torrid and I saw like this poster and she was on it, and I didn't know her name at the time, but I was like, I need to figure out who this is. So then I did a whole internet search, and then I found her. Then I started following her on Instagram, and I was like, this is her. This is Tati to me.
I definitely, because I was looking at stuff for myself, for people, and I saw her and I was like, that's Tati Green. Like, that's Tati Green. And I feel like you said she was a little bit darker, but she's perfect. Like, she exudes confidence. Like, I love it.
Yes.
So what made you decide to become an author?
Well, I'd always wanted to write a book. Like I've always like in third grade, I wrote a book and I was like, this is cool. This is what I want to do. But I never thought like in third grade, I just didn't think regular people wrote books. Like I don't know who I thought wrote books, but I was like, I can't do this for real. And so I was like, I'm gonna be a psychologist. And so I went to school and got my degrees in psychology and human services. And like I was doing that, but then I had a list of 30 things I wanted to do before I turned 30. And the first thing on the list was to write a novel. And so I was, as the time was going on, and my birthday was approaching, we had to do these mandatory, because I teach at a college. And at the time I was working full time there. And during like spring break, there were these trainings that we had to do. So you could pick whatever training you wanted to. And one of the trainings was, do you want to write a book? And I was like, God, is this you? Like, so I went to the class and like, he didn't say anything that was like really like mind blowing, except for if like, you know, I work a regular job and like I wrote my first book like 10 years ago, da da da. And I was like, you know what am I waiting for? So then that day I started writing Back to Life. And then 10 weeks later, I published it because the man I was with at the time, he was like, we should look up how you could publish it. And I was like, because I had just wrote it for me. He read it, my best friend read it. And then I published it. And a blogger named Natalie, she like contacted me and was like, you know, hey, do you know, like there's a whole indie community and I did not know that. And so she like introduced me to the whole indie situation. And that was in 2013. And then in 2015, I left my full-time job. I put in my notice. So I started January 2016, I would say, is when I started writing full-time.
Wow. That's a story. Like that's a really great story. I mean, like, especially that's something to hear for people who are inspiring to write. Like, do you set a goal on how many books a month you want to write?
Well, I base it off of like what I need to live. And so it's like I have I try to do a book a quarter.
Okay.
Last year because it was the pandemic. And what I realized now is, or by the end of the year, what I was realizing is that my coping mechanism was to keep churning out projects because it was like everything else I loved had been taken away. Like I wasn't able to like visit family. I wasn't hanging out with friends. I wasn't going to concerts. I wasn't going to poetry things. I wasn't doing any of the things that I wasn't able to do any of the things I loved. So it was just like, all right, next book. Like, let's do that. Okay, done with that.
Yes.
Let's do the next book. And so, so last year I did 10 projects. I won't ever do that again. That was a lot. But I try to do one a quarter, so for a year on average.
No, that's
Not
not
bad.
Well, look, you already got 2 done.
Yeah, definitely.
This year is going to be more than that. But I will say, I did a lot of novellas last year, and I feel like that's how, if I do more than 4, it'll be novellas. But I mean, that still takes a lot out of me too, but it's just a shorter amount of time to get the whole story out.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I just finished a class and I was like, I text Crystal this morning.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God, why? Ebony Omar is just like, I love them. Okay, so Annabelle and Lee were my favorite last year. And when I did my review on them, I was just like, I said, I don't even know what to say because I just love them so. But these two, like Ebony was just straight up gangster.
So I love this so much because like I've been thinking about this story for like all December, but I had to write The Single Life with Zola part 1 and 2 and then Heartless. And so I couldn't get to it until January. And then so as I was writing it, I couldn't talk to anyone about it because it's like all the the essence of it, I feel like you have to read it to experience it. I can't like whenever someone asks me what it's about,
I'm gonna have to hurry up and read it.
I mean, I promise you, when I saw it dropped, I downloaded it, and then I started reading it yesterday, and I was up to about 2:00, and I was like, okay, I gotta go sleep. And I kept I was like, but no, I need to know, like, what is she gonna do?
That makes me so happy. And whenever I tell people, I'm like, read The Cask of Amontillado, and just know that it is, it pays homage to Poe's work. And that's all I can really say about it without giving anything away. But what I will say is that Ebony, what I love is that Ebony is the heroine and the villain. Like she is both, and you don't.
I like things like that.
Don't always see that.
You don't. And the family crest, and when that came out, it like tied everything together.
Yes.
And I was just like,
y'all gonna have me starting this book tonight. Oh my
I was like, oh my gosh. And I literally woke up this morning and picked up my phone and was just reading. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, what is she going to, I mean, you should have, I wish you could have saw my face. I probably should have did a TikTok of me like what? Because
That makes my whole day. That makes my whole day. That's what I was hoping for.
So yeah, you got it. And I love doing books. I mean, like, I love reading books that, like you said, make you be like, I can't put it down. Like, eyes be tired. And it's so funny. I have a TikTok for you, so you might do it for that book. Because I mean, like, definitely, I've gone TikTok crazy. And I was telling Lane, I was like, do you know Danielle Allen is on TikTok? Like, listen, I love your videos.
Thank you. I just got on there a couple of weeks ago, and it's my favorite thing. And in 2020, I was like, I'm not getting on TikTok. I don't have time for TikTok.
I said, and I'm going crazy. Like, I love it. And when you did the broken clocks video, I'm just sitting there like just jamming with you.
Oh, now I think I messaged you and said when I read this book, and I was just like, okay, I cannot believe I'm just. This book had me crying. Like I was just devastated. The book is so good. I mean,
Thank you.
William and Layla, I love them. Don't get me wrong, I was mad. William was like, I just cannot stay. I cannot believe and then when it ended, oh my gosh, because Crystal.
Yeah, I started it yesterday, and I'm like, Crystal, you are at work.
But I mean, the ending of it was just because it doesn't end how typical books end. And so,
oh gosh, I'm devastated already.
Don't be devastated.
No, but it ended, where her wishes were still respected in a sense, and you just, but it was like you see a love and how that love started, how it ended, how it started back, and it was just
absolutely. And I got a lot of flack for it.
Yeah, and the things that she wanted, she didn't think that she could have, but she ended up having.
Absolutely. Yes, you get it.
Yes.
My gosh, yeah, let me hurry up. I love the letter at the beginning from her grandmother. Like that, I was dying laughing yesterday. Like, oh my, like I love a grandmother like that. Like them type of grandmas be the best type of grandmas. Like, you think I didn't know, but I knew what you was doing. And I was just telling, like, now you want, like, I feel like I need to go buy me a clock and just break it and just put it on there, because one thing, I mean, and it's still like in my head what you said. My grandma said that there are 2 times when the clock is broken that you basically, that is when it's right, even though it's broken, it is still right. So I'm just like, oh my gosh. And then when her friend was clowning her about wearing the watch that was set at the time, she's like, the watch is always set at that time. So I thought that was so funny. So I was like, I had something to do last night, but I wanted to finish it so bad. So I'm like, yeah, I might be laying in the bed tonight.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that book, I mean, I was literally just, I don't think I read anything for a couple of days after that one because I just had to get I had to like detox my emotions
Yes.
from them because it pulled you in and it covers so many topics and so many emotions that you're gonna have to experience. So, and I was experiencing all of them. I think I went through all stages of grief reading this book.
So yeah, let me hurry up and finish this. That's what I
so
like.
happy.
Do you feel like you're an emotional reader? Because I felt emotional with Tati's book as well, Work Song. Like, and you heard, I'm not even calling it Work Song. That's Tati's book. Like, because, ooh, Tati. But yeah, and I just like I said, is it like the emotions? Do you feel emotions come over when you're writing the books?
Absolutely. Like I feel like the characters are talking to me when I'm writing it. And so when I'm in it with them. And I always do first person. So whoever's head I'm in, I'm feeling what they're feeling. So when I wrote Broken Clouds, that was the only time I felt like, oh man, as I was typing. But when I wrote Broken Clouds, I was crying as I was writing some of the parts. And because that one, it's so many things that like that experience was based on a real experience and it was fictionalized, but the essence of you can love someone and the timing not be right because we're all tomorrow's not promised to any of us.
That is true.
And we have to live in the moment. And like that was part of what I wanted to convey with the story. And there were people who like legitimately vowed to never read another book of mine again. There are people who like weren't ready to experience the level of emotions that they experienced. But my thing is, I think that if I was able to make you feel that, then that's a win. And that means that my writing, it conveyed what it needed to convey.
Yes. I felt that.
Yeah, she said.
I mean, even just thinking about when I was I'm getting emotional now because it was. I mean, but it was such a great book. And
Thank you.
I think that I read this one probably after I read Work Song because Work Song was my first one. Then I think I read this one, and then I started going back in your catalog, picking up some more. But it was just. That, I mean, this one did not have me stop. It actually had me searching your catalog for more. Like, oh my God,
I definitely. And because when I told Lena, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna read Broken Clocks next. She was like, get your tissue. Yeah, because I'm the type of person, I be in there like with my pajamas, like tears I do cry. Like I'm a big sucker, and I definitely, so I'm gonna have to probably get myself in a good headspace because she said when she said get your tissue, I'm like, uh-oh.
So when you write, what do you have to have with you when you write?
I have music and I have a candle lit. My favorite scent is lavender. So I'll get my lavender candle going. I have, for every book, there's a playlist associated. And I am building that playlist as I'm writing. So all the songs that I'm listening to aren't necessarily like on the playlist. I'm listening to songs and when I feel like it connects, I'm like, that's the one because it always has to like flow into the next song. So it's a vibe, the whole thing. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna add this to the playlist. And so if I have like, and it doesn't have to be silent either. Like sometimes I will listen to music. Sometimes I like put on Frasier because that is my favorite random thing to watch because I've seen it so many times that like it's not distracting. But it's like noise, and especially not being able to go to like a cafe or to Panera or to Starbucks and like sit and like write and have that like that energy around you. Like when Frasier and Niles, Daphne, Roz, and Martin all come around, it's like, okay, there's noise around, there's people around, but I'm still able to focus on what I'm doing.
Yes, that is true. So I had a question. What is the inspirations? Because I noticed that you use Edgar Allan Poe like behind the Telltale. So what made you think to use his poems as inspirations for your books?
So Edgar Allan Poe is someone I feel like especially if you went to a public middle school or high school, you were forced to read at least one of his works. So like he is very like familiar to a lot of people. But every time there is a movie, even though Edgar Allan Poe doesn't, he rarely describes what the people look like in his poetry, in his short stories. Like there will be a detail that stands out, like, you know, the eye that kept looking at him and Telltale. And like he said that in the cask that he referenced that Fortunato was Italian, but like he never describes anyone. But anytime you see a TV show, a movie, a reenactment of any kind, it's always white people. And so I felt like why is that? And so, especially since there are so many like Black kids who are also learning about Edgar Allan Poe. And then I was like, well, and it's always conveyed in a horror light. And when I read The Raven the first time as a child, I thought that it was, you know, a horror poem too. But then reading it as an adult, I was like, I don't think that's as scary as like it was presented to be. Right. I think this is someone who is grieving. I think this is someone who is like so deep in grief that he's seeing and hearing his loved one. He's crying out for his love. And so then it was just like sad. And then like just knowing Poe's story, it was like, you know, he didn't get like hot in these streets until after death. You know what I mean? Like, so I was just like with the Poe Museum, like he lived in Richmond. I live in Richmond, Virginia, and he lived in Richmond, Virginia. So it was just kind of like, we have a Poe Museum here. So it was just kind of like, you know what? I'm gonna make it Poe, but I'm gonna make it Black. And then, and I'm gonna make it romance and then put that all together. And so instead of doing the retellings of things that were already romantic, I was like, I'm gonna take something that isn't necessarily seen as romantic, make it into a romance featuring Black people and see what happens. And so.
Well, it's working. It's working. It's definitely working.
And Annabelle and Lee, I tell you, and it's funny is that when I read Annabelle and Lee, it made me want to go back and read Poe and see the similarities and kind of compare. And so that book was really good because she was one who I think I related to the most because I felt like once you cross me, once you break my heart, I don't want to have anything to do with you.
Yes, absolutely.
So I really related to that one because I just felt where she was coming from, but how he, you know, like went after her to get her back and to try and convince her like it wasn't my fault. It wasn't all my fault, you know, but I loved it. I loved how you tied the father's indiscretions in there and the grandparents' love story. It was just also good, and how it built from generations passing down, you know, a beach house in that area. Because I looked up to see, I was like, I wonder, was there really a Black, you know, Martha Stewart type of area going on?
See, there wasn't, but I feel like there could have been, and there should have been. But like, if we look at what's still happening in 2021, it's like we are being like forced out of areas that that we could have been able to pass down, and so, you know.
Yeah, but it was good. It did have me going looking up, and I don't know if you ever seen Charm. About the three witches.
I love that show.
But they had they went back in time and Edgar Allan Poe was in, and I was like,
oh, really? Oh,
yeah, he was in one of their episodes.
And so
you know me the episode number, and I'm gonna look it up. I love that.
I have to because I did think about it, and when I saw that episode, because I've looked at the series millions of times, but It made me think about your writing because of
Yay!
Have you ever thought to like create your small town? Because I'm loving now that our authors are creating these little areas and cities and making their own and like making us want to move there. Like Lena was like, if I can get up and go live in the Heights, she was like, I'm packing up my whole family and I'm out. And I noticed like everybody's starting to do this. And have you thought about like making your own town?
Well, see, here's the thing. I have been doing that, and but it's so subtle that I feel like I want to start doing it more overtly because I see that everyone else. But like in the very first story, Back to Life and Back to Reality, like that takes place in Richland. And that is a place in Maryland. Richland is also where Hamilton University is. And a lot of my characters, they work at or went to Hamilton or are current students of Hamilton University. And so Hamilton is in Richland. Right. And so I will have to build it out more, but yeah, all of these, because I didn't want to, the reason I even made up a city was because I was like, I didn't want to describe a city that I don't live in. And then somebody who lives there is like, now what the hell is she talking about? Because that is not even, and so I was like, if it's a fictional town, nobody can check me.
Thank you. Yeah, because I'm from DC. So when I read people books and I'm like, okay, you're not from DC, but I just read a book by Meek, and she doesn't live in the DC area, but I told her, I said, you did good. Like she did real good naming the things. But I just recently also read a book where the lady was talking about Atlanta and she had the interstates wrong. And then so at the beginning of the book, the interstates was wrong, but at the end they were right. So I messaged her. I was like, girl, do you live in Atlanta? She was like, no. I said, yeah, I can tell. And she was like, oh, really? I was like, yeah, you're messing that up. So
oh no.
Yeah,
did you tell her the right one?
I can't stand that. Yeah.
Well, I saw that you put your director's hat on and created Disasters in Dating. How was that experience?
It was, so I did a play a couple of years ago, and then I was going to do the play again in 2020, but COVID. So I just did basically the play on film. And so it was a lot of work. It was a lot. And so, but it was a good time. It makes me excited to do it again. And I feel like all of the stuff that I learned the first go round, I'm going to be able to apply to that. And so on April 24th, it is going to be a one-time showing, like live in Richmond. And then afterward, it's going to be elsewhere. And so I will know definitively. I will announce it definitively later, but like the first and like only like rented out this space, but it's just with COVID, it's like I was able to rent it out, and it has like a certain number of people that can be there. But if things change, it might have to be canceled and everyone will be refunded and everything. But everything's so unpredictable now. But fingers crossed, like the showing will be, so like if y'all are nearby and want to drive down on April 24th, and the tickets can be purchased on Eventbrite. And so, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was just telling her that's my daughter's birthday. She'll be 27 on April 24th. But oh my goodness, like what made you get into writing plays, and like do you want to use any of your books as a play, or are you just doing something different?
So I see all of my books as movies. Like I see them in my head as movies. When I'm writing them, I feel like they could be movies. And so when I wanted to do the play the first time, I want to say that was in 2018. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And I went to this playhouse, and they told me that I wouldn't be able to do it, and that it takes years to do it, just all this stuff. And I was just like, okay. And so then I went to a different playhouse, and they were more supportive, and they were like, yeah, you can use our facility, da 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 da. And then I just did it, and it was like the people who volunteered to act in it. I had a friend from high school. She is a theater, like she has her master's in theater. And so she was going to be the dramaturg, but then she ended up getting a job and like moving. So, but like it was just something I wanted to do it. And I was like, all right, this is what I want to do, and I'm gonna do it. And so that's kind of how my personality is. Once I set my mind on this is what I want to do, I will do whatever I need to do to figure it out. And so it was a lot, but it was a good time. And I felt like the live reaction to the story was everything. But unfortunately that didn't get recorded. So then when I wanted to do it 2020 and it didn't happen, I was like, you know what? A film. And so then I called up one of my best friends, and he lives in Texas. And I was like, hey, will you film this? And he was like, yeah. So he brought his equipment to Richmond, and like the people who were going to be in the play, I called them up and I was like, hey, in 3 weeks, how would you like to do the same thing you were going to do, but on camera? And they were mostly down. And so everything else, I just figured it out and I'm so excited for people to see it and see like the characters, because it's not the same as the book. And so, so I'm excited to see like people's reaction to that.
That's exciting. So yeah, I know, because like me and Lena was talking, and I was like, oh my gosh, I would love somebody, like I was like, I think I want to start hashtagging Issa Rae in all of my reviews, because I feel like you said, some of these need to be movies, TV shows, and I'm like, we need a producer. So you might be our new producer. You might be, of all of our Black authors, and get these books out here, because I swear, like, and is it like, let us know if it's okay, because we can post it on the 2 Girls with the Mic page, but also our pages individually. Because then, like I said, I'm adding work to you. I'm sorry to be doing that, but I think people might be reaching out to you and be like, so do you want to put my book as a play? You might have a whole new hat then slid on your head.
But it took so much time out of me writing that I don't know if I could, but I would want Issa Rae to take it on. I would like that. So if y'all know her, let her know I'm looking for somebody to turn my work into film.
Like, I know Issa Rae, like I know your characters in my head.
Right, in my head, in my mind. But I feel
now we homegirls.
Yeah, I feel she would be the best. I think she would be the best to write a lot of our authors' books. Like, I really do.
I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, what time?
And she has the access, because I feel like that's part of it too. Like when you have the access and you have the built-in network to be able to command, because she's gotten to a point where she can like do what she wants. And I love that for her. And I want that for myself too.
Right.
But like, I feel like until I get there, like I would love for her to be like, hey, I read this book and I want to turn it into a movie. I'd be like, yes, please.
And it just takes one person.
Like the book, The Secret Lives of a Church Girl. Tessa Thompson is actually making that a movie, and that book just came out. So maybe Tessa Thompson and Issa Rae.
Yes, like let them know.
Yes, we have to tag them, because I don't know. And then, because Lane had a question, but did you see Sylvie's Love with Tessa Thompson?
I did. I did. It was so good, and I feel like oh my gosh, what's his name? Asamoah.
I can't even pronounce his name. I call him Kerry Washington's husband.
So I know it's Asamoah, but I can't remember his first name, and I only know that because I'm an Eagles fan. And and he used to play for the Eagles, and then he left the Eagles, and then it was like I was reading something, and it was like Kerry Washington is like married and pregnant, and I was like, I know Asamoah. And so then I felt like we're all family. And so, but like when I tell you, like they were so good in it. Like all of them were just so good. It was such a great piece of work. It was in the music of it, it was everything about it. It was just, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I don't feel like it has gotten enough recognition that it should, but I really, really love it. Like, love it.
It was
like,
great. And you know, Roger, I forgot his last name, but the guy, he's in Bridgerton, like the dude.
Yeah.
He was in that and he was great in that. And so when I hear people like going on and on about like, you know, how he was in Bridgerton, I was like, but did you see Sylvie's Love? Because he was
you're right. He was in Sylvie's Love. He was his friend.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. He just looked different. But yes, that was him. Yes. But he was good in Bridgerton.
He was.
Real good in Bridgerton.
He was.
But yes, definitely.
No, what type of research do you normally do for your books?
It depends on which story it is, but if it is because I try to be authentic to whatever the experience is. So if like in Heartache and Heartfelt, I don't know anything about painting. I like to do it. Like I like to go somewhere else and do it, but whatever paints they give me to paint with is what I use, but I don't know the different brushes. I don't know any of that. So I had to do research for like his character and with like the different situations that might come up. I researched those because I want to give truth to not only the character, but their experience. But everyone's experience with different things can be different. And I know I had a conversation with someone about, I won't say the book because I don't want to spoil anything, but they had PCOS. And so polycystic ovary syndrome made the situation complicated in her love life. And so she was saying how, you know, well, she has it and that isn't necessarily like her experience. And I was like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, and that's fine, but that was that character's experience. And like, and so it's just being able to like research it to the point where you feel comfortable making the different decisions with the character. So, and when I feel good about moving forward with the character and with the character and their situation or with the location, whatever the case may be, because Telltale was in Bali. Like half of the book took place in Indonesia. And so I was there. And so a lot of the experiences that she had there were experiences I had there, but I wasn't at the resort she was at. Like I was definitely at a different, I couldn't afford that she was at.
Yeah, you do travel a lot. I noticed that you travel a lot because I know you went to Paris. So yes, that is on my list. Like I have places I want to go. That's why I was like, I need the world to open back up. I mean, I went to Mexico. Yeah, I went to Mexico again for my birthday, but like every year I go somewhere for my birthday. And that's something I started when I hit like 40. But I was telling my friend, like I told her, I said, next year I want to go to Dubai for my birthday. And she was like, you ready? And I'm like, yeah. But I'm just like, I don't know. I need the world to open up, but we're going to do San Francisco in May. So
that'd be nice.
Yeah, I like to travel, but yeah, I was like, you travel a lot too.
I love traveling, but like, and that was part of why I wrote so many books last year, because it was like, I couldn't travel anywhere. I couldn't go see live music. I couldn't do anything. It was just, I'm at home and I live in a loft and like the walls are thin. And so it's like, it's just me and my neighbors. Like,
yeah. I think I saw on Facebook, you talk about your neighbors.
Listen, and they was going through it at the beginning of quarantine. And so I needed you all to know what I was experiencing, because I would just be like in the bed minding my business, and all of a sudden it'd be like, why did you leave here? And I'm like, why did
you could write a book all about your neighbors.
That's what I was about to say. You can actually make that a play, just different pieces, and everybody is in their own little made up apartment, and you can just hear everything, and you're sitting in the middle like, you know, writing it all down. That would be so cool. Yeah, that would be a good book and a play.
Was Truth or Dare? Did they have a little help with your neighbors since they? Because you know.
No, so I feel like in the sequel, in The Single Life of Zola Patterson, she has neighbors that she can hear, and that was to pay respects to Loft 1 and Loft 3, and so I'm tucked between them in Loft 2, and so but Truth or Dare was, I feel like it was a cry for help. I feel like I wanted to be on vacation. I wanted to go be with my friends. I wanted to like have hot random sex all over the place, but I was at home. I was wearing my mask to the store and coming right back home. I was being safe, and I won't in these streets. And so I feel like Truth or Dare was like how I wanted to spend my summer versus what I was actually doing.
I know, because that book out.
Truth or Dare is Kingston, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that, I read The Loving Man, and when oh my God,
Bailey.
Yes, Bailey West, but I'm mad I can't think of his name. But yeah, when he was meeting with Kingston from Truth or Dare and Noble, one of the Noble brothers,
Ian.
Ian. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. So
and that's what made me read.
Yeah, so that's
Truth and Dare,
I was like, I gotta get Truth
I
and Dare.
love that.
And I was
that.
like, I said, I didn't read Truth and Dare, so I downloaded Truth and Dare to read it, and I was like, oh my God, but I need more of Truth and Dare.
Let me put it to you this way
of them, because I want to know. I was like, okay, I know, I could tell they're getting together, but like, what else is happening?
If they talk to me again this summer, then like I will definitely pick something up.
Let's put it in your subconscious. And the funny thing about, I haven't even read it yet, but just listening to the way Kingston was talking in The Loving Man, I was like, oh, I need to go read this man. So yeah, like I said, I feel like I might need to just do a Danielle Allen month.
But I think that was like one of my best friends
Yes.
to lovers books was Truth or Dare, because
Thank you.
they were, they were best friends. And
Yes.
and it was like that type of relationship, because I have best friends like that where I don't talk to them every day and you go through your periods, but when you get together, it's like you just don't miss a beat.
Yeah.
And that was them, but then they caught another beat. So
An unexpected beat.
right. Yeah. And it was funny because of how they were trying to hide it from, their friends and stuff like that. But it was good. And then cuffing season and sweatpants season,
And they take place on the campus of Hamilton University. And all of the people in Truth or Dare, they went to Hamilton. And so when in the very, very beginning, when you see them in college playing Truth or Dare, they are on the campus of Hamilton University.
Yeah, by the time I got to college, I wasn't playing Truth or Dare. Mine was Dare and Double Dare. I think in high school, I wasn't playing Truth or Dare. It was Dare or Double Dare.
I mean, those were good. And
Thank you.
What was the inspiration with sweatpants season and cuffing season?
I had a conversation with a friend, and he had said something about like he was ready for what is it, sundress? He was ready for the sundresses to come out, and I was like, cool. And then it was something about, he didn't say it, but he had sent me a meme, or like we were talking about how like there was some, like if you don't have the ass for a sundress during sundress season, you need to just wear regular clothes. And so then the conversation, so then we had a conversation about how like women are often objectified, and that men, and so I was saying that like, yes, men are objectified too, but not to the degree that women are objectified, and not to the level of toxicity, and also to our detriment. And he was like, I mean, women say X, Y, and Z. I was like, women will talk about they want a big dick all the time and still end up with a dude with a little dick. Whereas men will say they want like a woman to look X, Y, and Z, and then actively pursue that and like say that that has to be with the case, and then be super. But if women treated men the way men treated women, they couldn't handle it. Like they could not. And so that was the conversation that happened before I wrote Sweatpants Season, because I was just like yeah, like the one time that I think of women objectifying men is during Sweatpants Season. It's when, you know, the dicks are out. And so
we can't wait till the great Sweatpants Season.
But like men objectify women like all throughout the year, and then let that determine that person's worth. Right. And that person's value. And that's the difference. Like, whereas a woman will say like, oh, I don't want a dude with a small dick, which valid, I get that. But then we'll meet a man and he has all these other qualities. And so they're like, you know what? I'm gonna ride the small dick and I'm gonna make it do what it do.
And then I also ask about the tongue.
Okay.
Can't forget that tongue.
Okay. And so then, but like it doesn't work like that with men. And then someone will have a small dick and we won't necessarily say that that has anything to do with his character. It's just that he has a small dick. A woman will have something out that accentuates her features, like she's feeling good and she's like, okay, my booty is popping right now, so let me wear these like pants that are gonna make them pop more, or the sundress or whatever, or I'm liking the way my breasts are looking, so like I'm gonna wear this low cut top because I look good in it. And people will, because it's not just men, but like women will be subjected to, okay, well then you are a slut or you are a whore. You clearly are not worthy to be with. So with cuffing season, that was talking about the idea of you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, like that mindset where like, but men are out here
Which turning hoes into housewives.
Which is funny because the Breakfast Club was talking about Boosie and what he said about Laura Harvey.
Exactly.
And I was like, and that was a whole conversation about her, like, you know, about she's going around like who gonna want her at the end after she done been around everybody in the industry. And they were like, and Angela Yee was like, but you can say the same thing for the men she's with. They done been around with everybody in the industry at the same time. So, you know, like it's a double standard out there for women.
It is. It's a double standard and it's wrong because I feel like you don't know that she's necessarily fucking every dude that you see her with. And I feel like just because you are projecting, it's like people are projecting their own issues onto other people. I think, like, I will tell you, Zola Patterson would be proud of Lori Harvey. Zola is Lori and Lori is Zola, because like if dating someone, you are allowed to date whoever you want to date and you should date. But I feel like there is this mindset that if you are able to keep someone in this thought, or keep a woman in this thought process that she has to settle, that she can only be with that one, then that allows men to do whatever they want to do and then come back to you and you'll still be there because you don't want to add to your numbers or you don't want to be looked at a certain way. And I think that's the same reason that people get mad at Sierra and Russell's relationship, because
I love their relationship.
They are a beautiful couple.
They are.
I feel like I don't know the ins and outs of their relationship, but from what I see, I love the way he loves her. And I think that like there are so many people who are threatened by that because it's like, what, she left a bad situation and then found better? Oh no, we can't have women out here thinking that like I treat her this way and she can leave me and go find better. Like, so let me like shit on this. And so,
and, you know, I heard here in Atlanta, because that was a big, because she was from Atlanta and she was messing with at that time she was dating someone here from Atlanta.
Future.
And they on the radio, it was Wanda and Frank Ski they were dogging her. Like how dare she not mess with Future anymore and go be with Russell? And I was like, why are you so upset that this woman has left a man who's been cheating on her, dogging her out to go be with somebody else? And then when she said that, you know, they swore off sex or whatever and everything, they were like, how do you even know that? Like, evidently she looked at her past relationship and saw what herself. Right.
She healed herself.
And wanted to try something new. Right. You know, but it was amazing to me that women were the ones who seemed like they were the most upset about it.
So, because if you look at, and it's the same thing I was saying about Tati's mom and sister.
That's what I was about to say.
Are indoctrinated into this mindset, then you become like a spokesperson for it too. So that's why I was saying that it's not just men that do it, because like in cuffing season, there were men and women who were talking about her, and I set up the book the way I set it up on purpose because. Like she wasn't doing anything, yet the rumors were swirling around because that's what, like, oh, she had on a low cut top and she was wearing this, so she must be a hoe. And it's like, why? Because if a man does the same exact thing, he's not looked at as a hoe, but by the definition that you have created, he too would then be a hoe, but it's never like regarded in that sense. And I think that that's a damaging mindset that we like grow up with. And it was like something that like I had to unlearn for myself. And it was like, okay, why am I not out here like dating multiple men? And so I had to unlearn that mindset that because I was very much the like, and so once I unlearned it, it was like, okay, I now only do it because I know that my attention span is set up like that. But it's not because society is telling me to, but I had to like make sure because like I think that it's problematic and sad that we are sometimes so dictated by what society is telling us we should do and how we should act that we aren't able to like fully, especially as Black women, because I feel like society says like who you're supposed to be in a world where like we are constantly being oppressed and because of our race, because of our gender. And it is it's unfortunate that we have to unlearn what they keep telling us is our truth, because it's not. Like we determine what's good for us. We determine what's best for us. We determine what we can do. And so it just makes me think about like, you know, you tell little girls to be virginal and like you want to like meet your husband and that be the first like man you're with, and then you teach little boys to sow their wild oats. So who are they sowing their oats with?
That's funny. My husband and I were just talking about that and how we were talking about we was talking about my son, and I was like, but if you, he was saying that, you know, women, and as women, we do tell our sons, don't just settle down for that one person right now. You go ahead and date around and things like that. I said, I don't tell my son to do that. You know, I'm not going to tell my son, I can't be no hoe. Like, no, like you figure out what you want, and then maybe you could see what's out there, but don't just go around and willy-nilly.
See, I'm different from her. I done told both of my kids, do you. I did me, you do you. So if you want to be with that person, and that person, just make sure you wrap yourself up. Because my whole thing is, I feel like you have to experience life, because I don't want you to get a certain age and you're like, dang, shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Absolutely.
But if you do it, you do it. My thing is that I wasn't promoting it for him.
Right.
And you know, because the conversation is that as he was saying that, well, you women always go tell your sons to do this, but then you make tell your daughters to be quiet, sit down, be quiet, listen, pay attention, don't be going around sleeping with everybody. I said, well, I don't tell neither one of my sons to do that. You know, I want them to live their life, regardless of how I may want them to live it or how I may see fit for them to live it. I don't want to put any restrictions on my daughter. Yes, okay, I do know how men treat women out there and what's to be said, and I tell her about that, and I warn her about consequences. There are consequences to action. but it's your life. You do get to choose what you want to do. And if, as long as you're happy with what you're doing, then that's what matters, you know.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
that's what I try to emphasize with mine, is that, you know, it's your life to live, and regardless of what anyone else is saying, even if you're a Laura Harvey, a Kim Kardashian, whoever, it's your life to do whatever you want, because Laura Harvey is not bothered by Boosie and what he has to say.
Exactly. And I think that's another thing too, like just building, like instilling that confidence into other people, that they can sit firmly in who they are, because a lot of times that is what it boils down to. You don't want to do X, Y, and Z because you don't want other people to say X, Y, and Z about you. And it's like, who are they?
Yeah, and that's something I learned in life young. Like, I never cared what anybody said about me. I still don't. I'm trying to learn to be a little bit like, okay, I care, but yeah, after I think about it, I'm like, I really don't. Like, you know, but I just think that, like you said, the double standards have to go. I learned that with my ex. It was double standards with us. Like, it was okay for you to do what you did, but when I did it, it wasn't okay. So, you know, and I think it's just like you said, it's the society thing, and it has rubbed off on people so much that even unlearning it, you still want to kind of do it some way. It's going to still happen.
Like, you have to be constantly mindful of it, because like, just because you have unlearned it doesn't mean that they stop pushing that narrative. And so you have to constantly like remind yourself and like be proactive in your own journey.
That is true.
So that was the basis of sweatpants season and the cuffing season. Just like with sweatpants season, it's that, you know, men are objectified, but women are objectified more. And in cuffing season, it was the idea that like there is some sort of value placed on if you are deemed, like how it can negatively impact you once you are labeled a hoe or a slut or whatever the label is as a woman. But as a man, you're celebrated. But as a woman, once they put that label on you, like people start falling back and acting like, you know, oh, well, I don't want to date her because what if like your soulmate was like, you know, or the person you thought was your soulmate was like, oh, well, I was gonna see what was up, but then, you know, I heard X, Y, and Z about you. And it's like how that like affects like different relationships. And so that's what the conflict was in cuffing season. Like, she was battling what other people were saying about her and how that tainted or could taint Luca's view of her.
Yeah, Luca will be all right. He gonna probably still want her anyway. You done heard what you heard, sir. Yeah, you done heard what you heard, and you still interested. So let me show you what you heard. Let me show you. So yeah, that's what you do. But you know, I wanted to ask, because we asked our blogger this. So March is International Women's Month. And we looked up what their every month, they said every year they do like a challenge, or they have it a theme. So this year is choose to challenge. Okay, so what would be your choose to challenge? What would be a challenge for you that you would want people to choose to do for themselves, or just for yourself in general?
To pour into yourself more, to stop relying on outside forces, like whether it's social media, whether it's a significant other, whether it is parents, to like, instead of relying so heavily on other people to pour into you, pour into yourself, speak life into yourself. And so I feel like we don't always take the time to do that. We wake up, we have the things that we have on our to-do list, and we get rolling, but we don't always, and like if someone is one of our friends or family member, they're hurting, we like will pour into them. But how often do we just wake up and pour into ourselves? And that's what I would want everyone to start doing, because then that way you are less likely to fall victim to the negativity that can come at you, the negativity that just surrounds you in general, because you are constantly filling yourself up.
Right.
And which
I
is
like
good
that.
now because, being home because of COVID, and I have 3 kids, and so I'm home with 3 kids all day, every day.
That's
And
a
then
lot.
so I was like, and I went to Walmart yesterday, and my daughter was blowing up my phone. She was like, "You've been gone for 3 hours." I said, "I've been gone less than 45 minutes." Like, let me be in Walmart without you calling my phone, unless there's a fire or something going on. Let me just walk down every aisle in Walmart and let me be. But
Let me just
that
be.
is true, because as women, I think we do have a harder time pouring into ourselves more. Just we take care of everybody else.
Absolutely.
Before we'll take care of ourselves.
Even when they're grown and don't live in your house, you still taking care of them.
Absolutely.
Like, I have to literally tell my kids, don't call me. Like I told my son yesterday, don't call me. Don't call me at all. I don't even want to talk to you right now. So, I mean, that is true. And, I feel like reading helps me, like working on myself, doing things different, because I can read something and be like, and if I feel like I get emotional about it, I'm like, okay, then that means it's something I have to work on myself. And I love that you said pour more into yourself. And I feel like now is the time for people to pour more into themselves.
Absolutely.
Because they're at home. They have the time to do it. Like you said, you're home all day, get it done. Like literally get it done. Yeah.
Yes.
And what are some ways that you think that you could help promote your books more, or that ways that we could promote your books more?
Yes, as bloggers and authors.
Oh, goodness. Like, what you all do is so valuable, like reading, reviewing, and then telling other people about it, like having other people like weigh in, like having the book club meetings, all of that is so valuable. And because a lot of times people, like, they may see when an author posts that, if I post like, hey, the cask is out, of course I'm gonna hype it up because I wrote it. But I think that, like, for a reader, it holds more weight when it's coming from someone who isn't the author. Because of course I'm going to say it's great.
Right.
Because I wouldn't have put it out if I didn't think it was great. But like when other people are reading it, other people are hyping it up. And so like mentioning it, tagging people, all of that helps.
Thank goodness. Yeah, because I like when I posted my review for Work Song, when I say I was sitting here like, what do I want to put as my background? It popped in my head so fast. I said, from the game when Melanie had her foot on the football. So I feel like me adding pictures and doing backgrounds and then putting the books, so many people just like, oh, that's so pretty. Oh, I like it. I got to read it. And it's more so like, are you actually reading my review, or are you, looking at it and wanting to read it because the picture?
And it's because it was different, and it's not just the cover. And I feel like that makes a difference too, because especially if people have seen the cover over and over again, when they see like someone's interpretation of it plus the review, it's like, hey, what's this?
Yes. So I mean, like I said, when I sit here and put stuff together, I'm just like, I got to do something that I want to see. Like I go on somebody's page and like, oh, wait a minute. Like I got to go back. My save button on my stuff be probably like, girl, leave me alone. Cause I'm always hitting save, because I want to go read something. But, like I said, I have a whole new catalog that I have to get through as well, because I don't care. Like, I feel like whatever you wrote, it just doesn't matter. Cause I loved my anti-Valentine. Like Alyssa and Emmanuel were, I think, the cutest couple ever. Like, I don't understand how she did not know that man loved her.
That book was it. I mean, that was a really good book, and I was so happy when they got together. And the wedding and that, like during the reception and things like that. How that chemistry just started sparking. Yeah. Even the girlfriend, Dad's girlfriend, she was just like,
y'all lying.
Yeah, you lying.
And when Alyssa said, I'm really not a great liar, I thought that was just so funny. I died laughing. I'm like, yeah, you're really not, girl.
And how the mom was like, I'm so glad y'all finally got together, because I just knew y'all was supposed to be together all these years.
Yeah.
That was a really
those 3 books are really great. Raw, what you got.
I love
you.
that. Are you guys thinking about doing something else again? Because I really feel like you guys should. Raw was so great. All
Thank
3 of them were great.
you. I appreciate that. They so when we released it, after we were done, and the text chain, it was like, all right, so what's next? And I was like, hold on, guys, I got another one coming in a few minutes, so I'll be back. And so so we haven't talked about it, but I was like, we could do one for Easter, and they were like, we're not doing that, and I was like, on the 3rd day, he arose from the dead, and I feel like y'all don't think we can tie that into romance. They won't mess with me. It's like,
But you know what would be cute, and we don't see too much of, I don't think I have read a book, but if we can get something geared towards Mother's Day, because like you guys are women, some of you are mothers, but if we can get something geared towards Mother's Day, because I have not seen a book where it's celebrating Mother's Day. Like me and Lena was thinking about that, but that way you still have enough time. Mother's Day is in May, so you got, you got March and April, you got 2 months. And then, y'all can go ahead and put something out for Mother's Day.
I'm gonna put that in the group chat. I'm gonna be like, okay, y'all weren't feeling Easter. What about Mother's Day?
Yeah.
And they're mothers, and so they may just be like, yes, sold. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yes, let's do it.
That comes. All 3 of you did a wonderful job.
A wonderful job. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. I feel like what I love so much is that all of the stories were so different.
Yes.
But, they all had the heat. They all had the good times, and I was smiling so hard reading theirs. Like when they sent to me, I was just grinning, and I was.
Yes. And I know, I think somebody posted something was like, "Oh, you don't have to read them in order," and I'm like, I feel like you kind of did, because when I read Tay Russ's book first, and then I read George next, I was like, wait a minute. So I had to go back to Tay Russ's book. I was like, oh, duh, Crystal, Alyssa. They're all friends. So they all left brunch together for Valentine's Day.
Baby first.
Yeah.
And then I think I read Bailey's, Tay's, then yours.
Yes, and I read Tay's, yours, and then Bailey. So that's how it kind of all, because Bailey had Lachey, you had Alyssa, and then Tay had, who was the girl in her book? Oh my gosh, because she drove me crazy at first, but then she kind of gave into I'm sad that I can't think of her name. That is terrible. Because he was Nolan. Oh wow.
She was the in Tay's book, she was the chef.
Yeah, she was the chef. Yeah, because they were both chefs, but I cannot believe I can't remember her name. But yeah,
I feel like only because we're talking about it right now, I can't remember it.
Right.
Yes, and that's terrible.
Yasmin.
Yep, Yasmin.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm like, oh, wait a minute. They're all friends. It didn't dawn on me until I read your book. And then she was saying we just left brunch. And I'm on my way, I'm running late. I was like, duh. So yeah, I love that you guys tied it together without really tying it together. Like each story was different,
right?
And everything. So I definitely loved it. But yeah,
thank you.
Alyssa,
I don't think that you can read them in any order. I don't think you have to read them in order, because I obviously read mine first, and then I read Tay's, and then Bailey's, and what I loved is that we didn't talk about because when I suggested it, it was just we're leaving brunch. So there's not a lot of overlap, because I can't write like that, because if I need to put another detail in, if after I get to the end, I'm like, oh, I need to put this, I don't. So that's why mine didn't even, she's waving goodbye. There was no conversation. And so, so then when I went back and read theirs, I liked how you get a little bit of information about the brunch. And Bailey's, and then the aftermath of what happened at brunch, you get in Tay's. And so mine, she I in her car and started her journey.
Yeah, she definitely was.
but I like that they like, you're able to see little glimpses that you wouldn't necessarily know if you only read one. But
right. Yes. And that's the thing I like about when authors like collab with each other, how you guys, it wasn't like like everybody had their own story. Just like when the girls did the Book and Boo series, like it's so funny. They were all in the same thing, like in the same location, but everybody's book was different. So I like that. So yeah, maybe Halloween too.
There is something for Halloween that I'm already working on. That's all I can say.
I'm excited.
I haven't started actually working on it because I'm not that good that I can start now for something that's in October. but the title and everything, like that's like, yeah. So, but perhaps because the short story, it was, I don't know, Alyssa and Emmanuel were so like easy, and it was just like, and I think it was because of the contrast of I had just finished writing The Cask, and because of how much it takes out of me to adapt Poe's work, I think that it was just easy for Alyssa and Emmanuel because they were light, and it was like, hey, like light and cute. And because did you read The Cask of Amontillado before you read The Cask?
I read The Cask last night.
No, I mean, did you read Poe's beforehand?
I didn't.
Okay, so if you read Poe's before, like if you read it, like because even reading it afterward, you'll be able to see the different, like all the work that went into like the layers of it, and because of like how much that took out of me, it was just like, oh, Alyssa and Emmanuel, they're gonna be cute and light and fun.
I mean, because in The Cask, Ebony, like she was no joke, and she was that hero that you love. Like, oh, she's like, I could look up to you. You're a businesswoman. You know your stuff and all of this, but then like, you conniving, like you really trying to mess up this man's whole livelihood because he tried to get one of your, like she did not, when she realized she wanted revenge, her eyes were set on it. And I think what it made her realize, like when he left her in her office after he told her who that was his sister, I was just like,
yeah, see, I might be picking that up tonight. I have 2 books that I need to finish.
But she did. She was someone that you love. Normally it's the man that you love but love to hate at the same time, that you hate at the same. But she was that person.
Yes. And because it took a lot. In all the Poe work, it takes a lot out of me. And so like the Alyssa and Emmanuel were just so cute and light and fun. And so I do want to see them again. But then I was like, do I want to see them again because of how heavy The Cask was? Or do I want to, like, am I trying to make it happen, or are they talking to me? And so that's when I'm like trying to have this conversation, trying to see if they are actually talking to me, and so far they are not. They were just like living their cute lives. We're good right now. Like they're like, we don't have anything to say at the moment. And so
I was hoping, but yeah, I feel like that was a definite great introduction to them. Like I loved it. I was just like, they're so cute. But you got a new fan. You definitely have a new fan. Like
I appreciate that.
You're right, and you need sometimes to have that emotional writing. Like I like to read a book sometimes where I'm like, I need a good cry, I need a good laugh. I was just reading another book. I mean, well, like I turn my Alexa on and she'll read to me. And I was literally sitting there like, oh my God, girl, what is wrong with you? Like, girl, like I'm like rolling my eyes and everything. Like she's sitting in the room or she on the phone talking to me. So I like books like that. And that's how I felt about Tati. I'm just like, yes, Tati, put them in their place. Like, yes, Tati. Like, yeah. So I love stuff like that. But yeah, and like I said, chuckling at the beginning of Broken Clock. So I got some reading to do.
I'm
Definitely.
excited. I can't wait to hear your thoughts when you finish them.
Yes.
Now, what book, The Women of the V? How did you come up with them?
So well, first, the way it starts off is it was kind of How to Get Away with Murderish, where it's like something happens and then it's like, all right, let me go to the beginning and tell you all the things that lead to it. And so so that was like what inspired that thought process. Like, what if she gets to her destination and she is in a panic because someone's dead? And so so you learn that up front, and then you go through the stories, and the love stories in each of the Women of V is a standalone. It's in that cocoon of a book, but the mystery stretches all three books, and like as the reader, you get information that the other people don't get. And so when you read book one, the information you get, you see how it connects to other information once you read book two. And then when you read book three, you know, by the end, you know how the whole thing came together. And my favorite genre to read is mystery. Like my favorite genre to read, my favorite thing to watch.
Yes.
Like mystery, suspense, something that's like based on true events. And it's a mystery. I'm sold. Take my money. And so I love that. And so I was sitting there thinking about how like, I wanted to do a mystery, but then also, you know how you hear about these secret societies that like different presidents and stuff were in, and it's always like these powerful white men who then only include other powerful white men, and so on and so of means of ongoing. And then I was just thinking about how, what if there was because this also took place on Hamilton University. What if there was a group run by a powerful Black woman who wanted to see other powerful Black women, or wanted to see other Black women become powerful Black women, and like keep churning out like generations of these powerful Black women. And so that is what V is. Like, they watch you.
Yes.
And then you are
It's
invited.
because I was like, oh my God. Then look, and so me, because every time I read something, I have to go say, I start researching. Like, I bet you there's something like that out there. Like,
It probably is.
And
I hope so. Like, I want there to be that, because I think that would be such an amazing like opportunity, like to get all of the things that V offers you,
right,
in order to like, and then you get positioned in the field that you want to be in. You get all the perks of like nepotism, but like in our benefit, because usually that doesn't happen in our benefit, you know? And so that was what the thought process when I came up with the Women of V, and how like women helping women become better, to become more powerful, to become who they want to be, and doing that by any means necessary. So they weren't always, you know,
Everybody else does it.
Right. They weren't like Ebony, but they definitely weren't necessarily good.
good for you. And that's one thing with your catalog, is that it's you're not just focused on one particular, I guess, storyline per se.
Right.
It's broad, and anybody can connect with it or feel it or understand it. You have a book out there for everyone.
Definitely.
Thank you.
So
yes.
That's one thing that I love about your catalog, is that, and and your writing is somewhat thought-provoking because it does make you be like, well, what if, it gives you that what if, like what if this really was like this? What if we did have a whole beach to ourselves that was just all Black people who had beach houses, who lived in this? Or, what if we had our Tatis and our sports writers who's taking over that media industry, and, or our store owners who know wine like it's the back of their hand, because you don't have so that is, I love that about your writing, is that it's broad, it covers a lot, and it brings in storylines that you really don't a lot of times see or feel.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Yes.
Makes me happy.
You are the bomb. Like, that's all I'm gonna just say. You're the bomb. Like the bomb.
Yeah.
Because I'm, like you said, the thought provoking, the emotions. Like I love to get away. Like literally, I saw work song in my head as I'm reading. Like that's how I am. Like people like, I don't like audio. Yeah, I will turn on Alexa and let her read if I'm at work. But like I said, I'm still following it with the book. But I see everything like in my head as it's playing along. So what's next? Like, what do you want to do next? Like I said, now you've written books, you've directed a play. Like, what's next?
I want to do a real like film, because I feel like what we did, because we like had gotten the usage of a space, and it was during COVID. It was like so generous, but because it was a smaller space, it could only be play-like. And so I am looking forward to being able to do a real film and adapting one of my works into like a movie. And I would love for it to be some big budget situation, but I don't have the big budget to make that. But I am like, that is something that I am aspiring to do to get one of my books made into a film, whether I have to do it or I can get someone else to do it. But that is the next thing, my next goal, like my next lofty goal. My for 2021, I have like some stories that I'm really, really excited to share, and some promo associated with the stories that get me so excited. And so just looking forward to what spring will bring.
Yes. Yeah, your promos are like excellent, because the V series, I loved how you just literally had a woman just walking down the hallway and talking. Like, as they let me see you walk. And that's exactly what she did. But it was just like, okay, I gotta read this book, because I did start the first book and I think I put it down. So I need to pick it back up. Like, I definitely do. But whenever you're ready to make that film, you should come on down to Atlanta. Come on down.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like when COVID is like, it's like when COVID's over, but it's like, then you look at the news and it's like, is there an over? Is there an end time?
I know.
But like,
not until 2022. I'm gonna say 2022.
Yeah, like I definitely don't feel like it's gonna be wrapping up this year, but like I definitely want to make it happen, wherever. So whether it's here in Atlanta, in LA, wherever, I want it to be made. I'll go to Canada and make it.
Well, I would love to go and work on your set with you. Just give me something little mediocre. I can help. But when you said that, like my head was just like running. So now you can go ahead and get you some investors. So like, say you put out and say, oh, would you like to invest this amount for this amount for that? You never know. Like people might say, oh, I would love to see that. So let me invest this into it, because it'll be a way to come back. But then also, it'll come back. It'll be a way where people can kind of get their money back, or maybe a little bit more, because you have people who's doing it. But it's like, I can't think of the name of it, but I've heard it like a long time ago, where you get investors to invest in your movie, but it's different people, like it's like different amounts and different people, and you're putting it out there. But like some people want to know what they're getting back. Some people are okay with just getting the credits, or some people might just be like, oh, I can write this off. So, you know, that's something else you can think of, and then like
That's
put
true.
your budget together and put it out there. Like, this is what I want to do. Would you like to invest in that? Because I sure was telling Lane, I said, I would love to have a TV station where, not a TV station, but a network where all of our authors are featured. Their books
I would love that.
Yes.
I would love that. Because I feel like there's so many great, like, indie authors out here just doing big things. And
There
like,
are.
Yeah, really.
There really are. And we need, I told Crystal if we was to ever have them on the show, they would have to be on not Netflix, HBO, Showtime type of station, because I do not want anything cut out, because it's not right for TV. I want it all.
Have it fade to black. And
Right. Yeah, I don't want to see none of that fading nowhere. I want the actors to be okay with being naked, swinging boobs, swinging things, everything swinging. Like it all, the little butts, the back.
Yes, so definitely.
I feel like that's the only way for it to really, for the story to be told.
It is.
In its full scope.
Right. It has to have everything. Like, don't cut us out. Don't make it just right, or no. We have to be everything up in there.
I want to see it all.
I want to see it all.
Everything, like everything. Yes, definitely. Yes. But we don't want to hold you no much longer, because I swear we probably can sit here and talk to you for hours, because you are like I said, you're the bomb. Like, you're writing, you're directing, like you doing it all. Like,
thank you.
But I feel like you know, you're saying the challenge, you have poured more into yourself. So I'm definitely, and it shows, it really shows. Like you said, just your whole demeanor, your personality, your writing. I love it. Like, love it.
Thank
so
you.
Yes, Danielle Allen has a new fan from me. Like, I'm like, so now, I mean, already when I see you putting out work, I don't even want to know what it is. I just want to read it.
I love that.
I don't even care what you put out. I just want to read it. So I just got to catch up. Like, I feel like I got a lot of catching up to do on people, but I feel like I really got a lot of catching up with you, because I think you posted somewhere before that you are like at book 50. Or did I read
that? I'm at book 35. 34 of them are published, and then the 35th one will be it was sold, and I thought it was going to be published in the spring. It was supposed to come out before Truth or Dare. But it's coming out this year. So the 35th one is coming, but so it's 35 projects, 34 like you can get on Amazon or my website.
Yeah, I just bought Work Song on Amazon, so it will be here. So I might be looking at a TikTok for Work Song. I'm gonna put that together.
I love
saw
it.
You said you were gonna have some book, the cask.
Yes, I ordered them, and when I tell you, so for all of my Poe work, I get special formatting that represents the book. And I am in love with the cask formatting. Like, I cannot wait for everyone to get it, but I'm gonna have, but I ordered some. I'm gonna have a sign up sheet for people if they want to get signed paperbacks, but if you just want the paperback and you want it quick, like, it's available on Amazon now.
Okay. Well, no, I want to sign.
Yeah, I want to sign.
Because I ordered all the other ones on Amazon.
Yeah.
I said, now I got to wait until I get to see her to get them signed.
I'll wait for a sign for the class.
But I want the class sign. I love the book cover of it too.
Yes, your book covers. I love all your book covers. I don't it's something about your book covers. Like I said, I love this one, but the broken clocks, I was just like, oh my gosh, like the woman is beautiful on it. Like Annabelle and Lee, all of your covers, I love them.
Yeah,
they really
fit
the
story.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. That's Q Designs. That's who does most of my covers. Stacey Hart is who did Work Song, but most of my covers are done by Amy Q.
Okay.
Yes, keep her because she's the bomb. Yeah, she's good. Like, do you just tell her what you want and she designs it, or you tell her like, or does she? You just say this is what the book is about and she comes up with it.
I tell her what I want, and a lot of times, especially because of it's so hard to find, and I'm hoping that this will change, but I don't have the money for a like a photographer and to hire models and to make that happen. So I'm using stock photos, and Amy does a great job of making the stock photos look unique to me and my work, because if they're stock photos, anybody can get them, so they can be on anybody's cover. So so just having it like tweaked enough to make it look like it to make it look different, to make it stand out. That's what she does. But I tell her what it is that I want. I give her the photo that I want her to use, and then she'll put it together. Like I told her, I gave her for Broken Clocks, I gave her the picture of the woman. I told her how I wanted her hair to be a little different. And then she found the clocks for the background and like made that happen. And for Annabelle and Lee, I saw this couple, and all of the Poe books are like, there's red standing out.
Yes.
And so Nevermore, it's her lipstick, and Telltale, it's her dress. Annabelle and Lee, it's like that background. And so with the cask, it's like that red filter. And so like that, I just told her to, like, she had already designed it. It was what do you call it when they have it was a pre-made,
right? The pre-made covers.
So I was like, can you make it red? And she did, and I was like, I love it. Sold.
I love it too.
I do too.
Well, I just have another idea, and I'm just throwing out ideas. And the only reason I have a friend who did it. So when you just said that you don't have the money to do the models and the photographer. So my friend, she used to do fashion shows. So what she did, the very first fashion show, she put out she did it on her social media. She put out like a blast. So what she said was, I'm looking for fresh faces who want to model. And now I cannot pay you, but every picture that I take of you, you get for free to build their portfolio. So that might be something you can look into doing too, because it's hard and it's expensive to get, to build a portfolio when you're trying to get into the modeling, but they're getting something for free and you're getting something for free. But
absolutely.
And when she has a huge model, like her model base. The first year we did the fashion show, she had 50 models. Her second year, she had 150.
Oh, wow.
Because, she used my daughter so like my daughter didn't want to model. She just did it for her. My daughter has like 150 pictures. So every year she did the fashion show for 5 years. So every year she would always just use her. And then they would go outside in different places and just take pictures. And she had a friend who was trying to build his portfolio as a photographer. So she didn't have to pay him either. And it's just like, getting people who are trying to build portfolios, you're getting something out of it, and they are as well. And like I said, her models went up every year. And meant like she's done fashion show in Detroit, DC, and North Carolina.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Like, so when we went to North Carolina, she had already put out the press releases and looking for them. When we went to North Carolina just to do the photo shoots before we did the actual fashion show down there, she had 50 models. And that was her very first fashion show in North Carolina.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so people are always looking to get into modeling. And like you say, even if you like go on social media, you will get people like you will probably not expect it, but you will get a lot of people that you're looking for who's willing to do it for free, because you're, like you said, all I can do is offer you your pictures, and you don't even have to give them like printing them out. She literally just sends, she puts everybody in a Dropbox, and she just send them the link to their Dropbox with all their pictures, and that's all she did. Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely a good way to like get people and make that happen, because it's difficult to find like unique, like especially like I love the cover of Annabelle and Lee because it's a Black couple in an intimate like pose.
Right.
And like there's not a lot of that in stock photos.
No, not of Black couples. Like, it's so sad. I can Google like a Black couple and a whole bunch of white people come up. What part of BLACK did you not see?
Right. Like they'll have on a Black outfit.
Yeah.
Or like they'll and it's like,
Or
that's
being black and white.
Yes,
right. And it's like, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
at
that's not what
all.
I said. I said Black woman, Black man, Black couple.
Yeah.
People, like, yeah, it drives me crazy. I'm like, that, yeah, the internet is out of control. We need to probably just start flooding it. But that might be something if you're interested in doing, and because it's so, no, we didn't do anything in Virginia. She did something in Virginia, but not far out. But yeah, she like for 5 years, she had me assisting her. Like I said, I went to Detroit with her because that's where she's from. And like I said, every time, like new fresh faces of people who just was like, oh, I want to model. I want to model.
Yeah, like the friend who like filmed the play, he is a photographer too, and that we were talking about that, and so like that would be something that I would definitely do. I didn't think about doing a open call. I was just like, hey, if you get any clients who are like fit this description, like let me know, because I'm going to I'm looking for like this type of pose and stuff. And so, but yeah, I didn't think about like putting out an open call for it, but I might do that. But I think that like, sometimes it's so easy just to like, if it was already available, then it's like, oh, less work. But what can you do?
Yeah, she loved doing it. And then she got her two youngest actually into modeling. Her middle daughter did end up doing, just from taking pictures and always starring in her fashion show. Her daughter ended up doing New York Fashion Week. She did different little fashion weeks in little small places, but she actually made it to New York Fashion Week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and she did not think, and it's so funny because her middle daughter was so tomboyish. Like whenever I see her, she was so tom. She wanted to have on her kicks and stuff. But the first time I saw her in makeup, I had to do a double take. I said, Jalea, is that you? So yeah, and then once she went off to college, she started taking her own pictures, and I was just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, that's how she started, and that's how she got her models, just doing an open call and just saying, look, I can't pay you, but I'll give you your photos for free, because like I said, it's expensive to build a photo book and to be able to present that when you go, but it helped. And yeah, she just set up, and because I know the first year we did it, I worked for a doctor, and the doctor had this huge open space, so we did it there. The first casting.
Oh, that's good.
And we had a spot where they had to sign in, and then they had a spot, the photographer took them in the back, and he just had like the basic wall, and he just did different pictures, and she sat and picked out her favorites, and then that was it. So
nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
It took her about an hour to do it. It took us an hour because, like I said, we had the little sign-in sheet, so people we already knew who was coming, and then when they came, they just had to sign by their name. He took 10 snaps, and then that was it.
That's a win. Yeah. A definite win.
Mm-hmm. Well, but we definitely appreciate you coming on to the show today.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
I appreciate y'all.
I appreciate you.
Let us know when you're doing the movie and when it's going to be showing.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll definitely promote it and just share it. I'm looking forward to the visual when you put it online, the advertising, because I know it's going to be like something hot, something sexy.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah. I can't wait. Definitely can't wait.
Thank you guys. I appreciate y'all so much.
Thank you so much.
Talking to you.
Y'all too.
Yes.
Happy Saturday.
You as well. Like we done took up some of your Saturday, so we're gonna give, like as they tell you at work here, let me go ahead and give you the rest of your time back. When we're getting out of meetings, my manager's always saying, let me go ahead and give you the rest of your time back. Bye. Like, okay. But yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And
thank you.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Bye guys.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Now I wonder